Hi guys, and welcome to the last lesson of chapter 10, 10.7. We're going to be talking about equations of a circle today. I have some notes set up, but before we begin, let's think back to Algebra 1 when we were learning about linear equations, equation of a line. We spent a lot of time talking about slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. You guys are very familiar and very comfortable with slope-intercept form, right? If I ask you to write an equation in slope-intercept form, I think for the most part you all know that you need to know the slope, the m value, and the b, the y-intercept value. Those are the two key pieces of information needed to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. I bring that up because today we're going to talk about the equation of a circle, okay? And there's two key pieces of information we need to know. We need to know the center, which the variables h and k stand for center, and we need to know the radius, which is our r value, okay? So center and radius is what we're going to be looking for in order to write the equation of a circle. Now, every problem is going to be a little different depending on what information is provided, all right? But the goal is to write an equation in what we call standard form, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. The center is h and k, and the radius is r. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the first problem. I'm going to ask you to write the equation of a circle and to sketch the circle, given that you have a center at -2, 3 and a point at -2, 6. Okay, so there's a few different approaches here. I'm going to jump right into the equation though. This is your h and your k because that's your center. And this is just a point, so that's x and y. All right, you're going to plug all that information into the equation. So let me write the equation down. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Substituting in, I have x minus -2 squared plus y minus, 3, minus, we're going somewhere else, squared equals r squared. So I plugged in the h and the k. I don't know why I didn't plug in x and y at the same time. I should have. Let's go ahead and do that. So I have the x value, which is -2. I still have minus -2 squared, plus the y value, which is 6 minus 3 squared equals r squared. I should have done both substitution at the same time. I just didn't. Okay. Now, this equation just has one variable. I'm going to be allowed to solve for r, which is good because remember what I said. I need to know the center and I need to know the radius to write the equation of a circle. Okay, so let's clean this up. -2 plus 2, that's going to give you 0, plus 6 minus 3 is 3. So I now have 9 equals r squared. Or take the square root of both sides and you get r is equal to 3. Once you have your center and your radius, you can now write your final answer, the equation of a circle. I'm again going to write it out because it's going to help me memorize it the more I write it and say it. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Substitute in just the h, k, and r this time. So it's x minus -2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 3 squared. You're going to clean up the signs and square the radius. So minus and negative. Notice, because this is going to come up at the end, when your h value is a -2, when you clean it up, it becomes a +2. So keep that in mind. Your h value is a -2, but when you clean it up, it becomes a +2. Plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. So that's the equation of my circle. I'm going to cut off my 2. That's the equation of my circle. Now let's sketch it. It's going to be easier to do with actual graph paper, grid paper, but we'll just have to make do. So your center is at -2, 3. And then you're given a point, -2, 6. It's like somewhere around there. So I actually could have plotted the points first. And since this point is right above the other, I could just count 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. That means my radius is 3 units long. If this is my center and this is a point on the circle, my radius is 3 units long. So to sketch it, and I know that too because I did it algebraically, but I could have come up with that without doing all that work. But now I can count 3 units to the left, 3 units to the right, 3 units down, and I have, is that 3? Yeah, it is 3. And I have my sketch. All right. So there's one problem for you. All right. So let's see what we're going to do next. So I'm not going to do every single problem in the notes. I'm just going to kind of do one of each of them. So for this one, I'm actually going to move on. I'm going to look at problem 3. This time you're given 6, -6, and you're given the radius is 4. So what are the 2 pieces of information you need to know? Center and radius. You know them. So you can write your equation. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This is h, this is k, and there's r. So it's x minus 6 squared plus y minus k is -6 squared equals 4 squared. You're going to square your radius and clean up any signs. So x minus 6 squared plus y plus 6 squared equals 16. Okay. Now, if I want to sketch it, my center is at 6, -6. So somewhere there. My radius is 4 units. So I'm going to count 4 up, 4 down, 4 to the right, and 4 to the left. Something like that. And there you have it. All right. Let's try another. All right. The next problem we're going to look at is number 4. Okay, this time I'm giving you a center at -4, -3, and a point at -2, 1. All right, so this is my h, my k, my x, my y. Okay, so I can substitute it all in. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. X is -2. H is -4. Y is 1. K is -3. My equation is going to allow me to solve for the radius r. Clean up the signs here. So I have 2 squared plus, clean up the signs here, 4 squared equals r squared. 4 plus 16 equals r squared. 20 equals r squared. Take the square root of 20 to get r is equal to 2 root 5. Now when I go to write my equation, think about this before you actually write it. Okay, so get a different color. So my answer, which again is always x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. But remember, you're just substituting in h, k, and r. So the h value is -4, so minus -4 squared. Your k value is -3, so minus -3 squared. Now, I could substitute in my r value and square it, but I really want to know what is r squared. And I already know r squared is 20. So I'm just pointing that out so you don't do any extra work that you don't need to do. Clean up the signs. So it's x plus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 20. That's your equation. Now for graphing purposes, right, if I graph my center, center is at -4, -3. There's my center. Now, unfortunately, my radius is not a nice number. I can't count 2√5 units up, 2√5 to the right. I could approximate, but not exactly. All right, but remember, you're given this other point, -2, 1. So -2, 1, it's like there. Again, the only problem here is it's not directly above, right? I can't just count the number of units from this point to this point in a straight line. So what you're going to do, kind of think about slope. Think about the rise over the run, right? To go from this point to that point, I'd have to rise 1, 2, 3, 4 units and run 1, 2. So again, I'm going up 4 over 2, up 4 over 2. So if I go down 4 over 2, or if I go out 4 up 2, or if I go out 4 down 2, and I'm kind of approximating, right? Then I have my circle. Okay. All right, guys, there's 2 more problems that I want to work on. This next problem, I'm going to give you a center at 5, -7. And I'm going to tell you that the circle is tangent to x equals 8. Ooh, x equals 8. Let's sketch this one first. Think about what information we have, what we need. Because I know this center, I just need to know my radius. But maybe I can figure that out from the graph. All right, so 5, -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, -7. That is my center. It says that the circle is tangent to the line x equals 8. So where is x equals 8? Well, it's a vertical line that goes through 8 on the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're talking this vertical line, x equals 8. That would be the tangent to the circle. Okay. Well, I know that I can draw a segment from the center to the outside of the circle, right, that meets at the point of tangency. That is actually a radius. So how far away is the center to the tangent? How many units am I from here to there? So I am 1, 2, 3 units away. So you just figured out that your radius is 3. So now you have enough information to write the equation, which we'll do in a second. But I can also count 3 units down. I don't even know where I am. About somewhere like there. 3 units up. 3 units this way. And you have your circle. Okay? And the equation, x minus h squared plus y minus -7, so it's plus 7 squared, equals r squared, which is 64. Right. The last problem for today, we're going to look at number 7 on your notes. So for problem number 7, we have x squared plus y squared plus 8x minus 16y plus 31 equals 0. All right, the directions here ask you to complete the square to find the center and radius of each circle. So this is bringing us again back to Algebra 1 when we learned how to complete the square. So I'll kind of remind you as I'm going through this problem. We have to group our x terms together, group our y terms together, move our constant to the other side, okay? When we group our x terms together, put them in parentheses, x squared plus 8x, and then you're actually going to write plus blank, and I'll explain that blank in a second. Then you're going to group your y terms together and have another plus blank. So it's going to be y squared minus 16y plus blank. Now I said move that 31 to the other side. What operation would bring that 31 to the other side? Subtraction. So make sure, because I see a lot of mistakes there. I see people just like, putting 31 on the other side. Well, how did it get there? You have to subtract it over there. And then because you have the plus blank, you have to have the plus blank on the other side. Because whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. Okay? Now, if you guys remember in Algebra 1, you learned how to complete the square. It's a process that allows us to take something that's not factorable and force it to become factorable. Force it to become a perfect square trinomial. So the process is you take the middle term, divide by 2, and square it. You guys might remember b divided by 2 squared. So b is the middle term. 8 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2, and then squared. So that's 4 squared to get 16. So you're going to put a 16 in this blank and a 16 in one of the blanks on the other side. Do the same process. Negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 squared is 64. So you put a 64 in both blanks here. Now, both of these sets of parentheses are perfect square trinomials, okay? You're going to factor it into one binomial squared. What number times itself multiplies to 16 and adds to 8? 4 and 4. So it's going to be x plus 4 squared, okay? What number multiplied by itself equals 64 and adds to a negative 16? Y minus 8 squared, okay? And then combining like terms on the other side, and then cheat and look at my finger, is 49. All right. So what did you just do? You completed the square, but now do you notice you're in x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared form? You have an equation of a circle. So now looking at the equation, you should be able to tell me the center. Remember, that's your h and k value. And your radius. Remember, that's your r value. So your h and your k, you have a negative 4 and a positive 8. Negative 4 and a positive 8. And your radius, well, radius squared is 49, so r would just be 7. Now keep in mind, and a lot of times with the last set of problems we were doing, I'd always write it as h minus negative 2 and then change it to plus 2. So the form of the equation is x minus h. So there must have been a negative 4 plugged in here because minus and negative 4 is how that became plus 4. That's why it's negative 4. And then what number was substituted in for the k here? It was just an 8. The minus sign is already there. Okay? So that's how it's a negative 4, not a positive 4, and a positive 8, not a negative 8. All right? That is it for today's lesson. Go ahead and jump on over to your textbook to get your assignment done, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.